All right. Welcome back to the BellisarioSonic YouTube channel. We have Vladimir Shafranov back with us. I'm very excited to have him back on and have a conversation about jazz. And we're going to talk about some of his records and everything else. I reached out to you probably about a month ago, and you said you were over in Japan. Is that right?
That is right. Happy to be here, by the way. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, no problem. So tell us about Japan. How many shows did you play over there, and where'd you play at?
Well, I was there for almost 3 weeks, so I had
Oh, nice.
maybe 2 nights off. So yeah, usually I play almost immediately that same night I come right from the plane. This time we only had rehearsal that day, and so I played on the next day. I played on the next day near Tokyo, and then the following day in Tokyo, in a club called Sometime, which is a wonderful place, a very inspiring audience. What can I say? I traveled all over this time. I went to the north, even play with different. Well, I had, for the most part, I had my drummer. He also is kind of, well, I couldn't say manager, but he sets up our performances. But I also went to north of Japan, to Kamagata, and played with my old rhythm section, the lady bass player, Misa Wakabayashi, and the drummer. That I did 2 or 3 tours with them before, but then we stopped. And so now it was like reunion after maybe 6 years. We haven't seen each other. So
Wow.
we did those concerts. It's always very inspiring, but so very interesting. In some small places that you don't expect, people have my records. So this company, my first company, Savanos, they did tremendous job. Venus too, but Savanos particularly at that time, they did a tremendous job of distributing records all over Japan. So in the places you wouldn't expect, they come with all my records, and you have to, this is the job actually. Playing is a pleasure, but then you have to sit down and sign all the records.
Yeah, yeah,
And people want to take pictures with you, so that's part of a job.
yeah.
Not
Well, people
complaining.
enjoy
Right?
that. Yeah, well,
It's
it's
good.
and
But
especially when they
sometimes
don't get to see
when
you
you
very often.
what's that?
They don't get to see you very often, so they're probably excited
Well,
to be able to. You know.
yeah, of course we had this break during pandemic, so yeah, so 2 years or so I couldn't come. I came immediately after pandemic when everything was still dangerous and there was very very few people around. Even in a place like Ginza, which is a very fancy shopping district, and all the luxury items, great restaurants and hotels, everything there. So even then, it was like half empty. My wife came with me that time, and I was trying to tell her this is not how it
Not,
is, how it is usually, And now I think there were more people than I remembered, and many many tourists. Yen it's kind of all the way down. Yen is very cheap, so I think due to that, and maybe due to ending of a pandemic, people are inspired to travel to Japan. I've seen not only in Tokyo or in Osaka, but even in the places like Kanazawa. Usually, you don't see too many Europeans or any white people there. Very very rarely. In Tokyo, you usually see a fair amount, but
yeah.
but this time there were many 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 tourists. Yeah, so it was very very lively, more so than I remembered even.
So
So yeah, what can I tell you more? A lot of traveling, a lot of playing, a lot of meeting with people. I mean, I know Japan now almost as well as any other place.
yeah, I've never
Oh,
been there. So it seems very interesting to me, and supposedly, I mean, we always read that the Japanese are very fond of jazz music. So and that they've always kept jazz alive there, and there's a lot of great musicians from Japan now. That actually it's been for quite a while, right, from the '60s and '70s, and there's a lot of great Japanese jazz music.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's many good players. And they know the music, they study. They really study the records, and they're really into it. And the audiences are very knowledgeable, I find, because I feel how they react to certain things. When you do certain things in the tunes, and you see that it's just like comedian. If you stand up, certain jokes, how they landed.
Right.
People are getting exactly what you intend them to get. If you play something and something it's the band is really hitting it together, I could see on their faces how they enjoy it. So sometimes when you play other places, people may enjoy it, but I don't see the same reaction.
Yeah. So have you been to one of these, Vladimir? Have you been to one of these? What I hear about these jazz cafes or jazz where they play.
It's called Kiss.
Yeah. So I want to build one of those, but I don't have any.
I've been to quite a few. My friend who used to write for the jazz magazine, I met him the first time, called Makoto Goto. He's a very knowledgeable fellow, and he knows all kind of places. So he took me to, for instance, there was one such a cafe that specialized in Blue Note records. They only have there are some cafe or bars that are only specialized in singers. They have all kinds of singers, with particularly from the big band era. Lots of big band with singers, and they have videos also going. And some of these places they also have live music sometimes. I played with one place called Birdland. It's it's very far from center of Tokyo, but it's still Tokyo. I mean, the Tokyo or Yokohama, they're enormous places. I mean, you drive and drive and drive, and they say it's still Tokyo.
It's a big city, huh?
Birdland was one such place that they play. People are sitting with a drink or coffee, and they have this kind of like your equipment and big speakers, and they playing LPs, CDs, everything, and people listen. But they also have piano, so sometimes they have live sessions. So
and they serve drinks.
Yeah, they serve drinks. Yeah, I think certain places it's a coffee only, maybe.
Oh, okay.
I mean, non-alcoholic drinks, maybe. But quite a few places where I've been, they serve all kinds of drinks. Yeah, there's alcohol. But you wouldn't know it. I mean, there is no noise. I mean, Japanese are very quiet. You wouldn't know. They're sitting and listening. They're concentrating on the music. It's like library,
right.
Almost. Only it's a lively feeling is lively.
Right.
People sitting in the bar, but they listening very concentrated.
Well, I don't know why we don't have those in the States. You don't see those pretty much anywhere else that I know.
You don't see it anywhere. People start almost immediately start talking, communicating to each other. Of course, now with the cell phones and everything, so that's another story. But in Japan,
right.
you can't talk on the phone in a public place.
Oh, really?
In the buses, in the trains, it's all quiet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you don't.
Interesting.
You don't hear. Yeah, if somebody needs to talk, they go like on the train. They go like in between wagons. There's the space when you can talk without disturbing other people. But it's
interesting.
Yeah, it's very quiet everywhere. I mean, if you go by subway, there are hundreds and the trains are packed. Imagine if everyone in Japan, like thousands and thousands of people if everybody start talking on the phone.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So no, they're very disciplined. I mean, even if you one time we were traveling somewhere quite a few years ago, and I was talking with my manager, and maybe I got a little bit excited. I talked a little bit higher. So one gentleman came to me and said, it was in the daytime, So
Yes.
I got the message.
That's interesting.
You're not supposed to even talk, a certain volume, which is understandable. I have utmost respect for that. It's good not to invade other people's spaces. But immediately, as I came back to Finland, Sweden, everybody is